What's your advice about how to figure out if you're in a bubble and how to get out of it?
Oh, that's such a fantastic question. Unfortunately, I think it comes really naturally to someone like me because I'm the child of immigrants and I was raised in College Station, Texas. So I was always on the outside. And when you're on the outside, this isn't a sob story. It's a deeply useful skill because when you're on the outside, you're forced to kind of observe. And you're like, oh, so like when I was raised was the Bible Belt, and people really, people were hardcore evangelical Christians. And I could tell, I'm like, oh, they really believe this stuff. And, they were, always trying to proselytize and all of that. And then the other gift that my parents gave me is I got to travel the entire world. I probably visited 25, 30 countries by the time I was 18. And one of the things that gave me was the ability to just put yourself in the brain of another person. So, one of the reasons I'm really excited to go to Japan and I picked it as a spot for my honeymoon was because Japan is a first world developed country where the vast majority of them don't speak English. It's distinguishedly non Western, and they just do shit their own way. So they have a subway, but it's not the same as ours. They have restaurants. Things don't work the same way. They have, I could go a laundry list. Their entire philosophy of life, of the daily rhythm, even though it merges with service based managerial capitalism, and they're fucking good at it too. They do it their own way. So, exposure to other countries in the world gave me, and also just being an outsider myself, gave me a more detached view of the world. So, if you don't have that, what I would encourage you is to flex that muscle. So, go somewhere that makes you uncomfortable. This will be a very boomer take, but I hate the fact that you have 5G everywhere you go in the world, because some of the best experiences I've ever had in my life is walking around Warsaw, Poland, trying to find a bus station to get my ass to Lithuania with a printed out bus ticket. I have no idea where the street is. I'm in a country where not that many people speak English. We're pointing and gesturing, right? And I figured it out. And it was really useful. I got to meet a lot of cool Polish people. Same in Thailand. I've been in rural, like bumfuck Thailand, Colombia, places where people speak zero English. And your ability to gesture and use pidgin really connects you and gives you like the ability to get an exposure to others. And so I know this is a very like wanderlust like travel thing, but unironically, if you're raised in a bubble, pierce it. Like that's the answer. Is seek something out that makes you uncomfortable. So if you're raised rich, you need to go spend some time with poor people.
And consider that they might actually understand the world better than you.
Well, in some respects. So I think a lot of rich people have really screwed up personal lives. So if you're poor and you really value family, you say, oh, that's interesting. There seems to be a fundamental trade off between extraordinary wealth and something that I value. But what can I take away from that person? Oh, put my money in index funds. Make sure that I am conscientious about my budgeting and common sense shit, right? And vice versa. People who are very wealthy get so caught up in the rat race about their kids going to private school and all of this. And then, they very rarely engage with, there's that famous study where they ask people on their deathbed, like what they valued in life. And every single one of them was like, I wish I'd spend more time with my children. I think about that every time that I am thinking about pursuing a new work endeavor or something that's going to have me spend significant time away from my wife. And I'm almost always these days, now that I've achieved a certain level of success, the answer is I'm not doing it unless she can come with me.
One of the bubbles I'm really concerned about is San Francisco bubble. I visited there recently because I have so many friends there that I respect deeply. There's so many brilliant people in San Francisco,
Absolutely.
the Silicon Valley. But there's just this. I don't even want to criticize it, but there's definitely a bubble
Yeah,
of thought.
I'm with you. I'm friends with some SV Silicon Valley people as well. I'm similarly struck by that every time I go. And honestly, I do admire them because what I respect the most amongst entrepreneurs, business, and political thinkers is systems thinking. Nobody thinks systems better than people who are in tech because they deal with global shit, right? Not even just America. They have to think about the whole world, about the human being and his relationship to technology. And coding, in some ways, is an expression of the human mind and about how that person wants to achieve this thing and how you mechanically can type that into a keyboard or even code something to code for you to be able to achieve that. That's a remarkable accomplishment. I do think those people and people like that too who think very linearly through math, and the geniuses are the ones who can take their creativity and merge it with linear thinking. But I do think that actually, those are the people who probably most need to get out of the bubble, check themselves a little bit. And look, it's really hard. Once you achieve a certain level of economic success and others, like, what do most rich people do? They close themselves off from the world, right? That's the vast majority of the time. What do? Economy is annoying flying. They fly first class. Living in a small house is annoying. They buy a bigger house. Dealing with a lot of these inconveniences of life is annoying. You pay a little bit more to make sure you don't have to do that. There's a deep, insidious thing within that. Each one of those individual choices, where the more and more removed that you get from that, the more in the bubble that you are. So you should actually seek out those experiences or create them in a concerted way.